Hi, I'm Kesenya and welcome to Guiding Star Astrology. I'm your Astro Weather Girl, here with this week's Astro Weather Report. I'm going to show you how the stars are going to affect your life this week. In my videos, I use both Vedic and traditional Western techniques with tropical astrology, not sidereal astrology. I also use the traditional system of whole sign astrology for my analysis. You can use this video to the best of your advantage by listening to the introduction to understand what the week holds for you, and then going to the timestamps for your sun, moon, and rising sign to get a more personalized forecast for the week ahead. Astrology is not designed to scare you. It's designed to give you information so that you know what the good and the challenging energies in the week ahead will be, and you can therefore consciously work with them to the best of your advantage. Remember, knowledge is power. Now, there are scammers about, and so if you should receive a message from me on any platform requesting your money for a reading, know that it is a scam. Report them immediately. And now settle in and let's see what the astral skies have in store for the week ahead. Well, hello everybody and welcome to this week's Astro Weather Report. We are in powerful times of change on the earth, in case you hadn't already noticed. People are continuing to wake up to the truth and wake up to an awareness of the 2,000 years of age of Pisces deception. Remember, the shadow side of Pisces is deception that we have been or had inflicted upon us, upon all of humanity. We've been so deceived over the last 2,000 years, and people are finally starting to wake up to that truth. In a sense, it's very exciting, but we have so much work to do to turn this world around, and I'm thrilled to be a part of it. In my case, my work, I feel, is pertaining obviously to astrology, and as a part of the astrological revolution that's taking place in bringing this ancient and sacred knowledge and wisdom back, I'm just so thrilled to be able to bring these astro weather reports to you every week, and you're all a part of this exciting momentum as well. Thank you for being here. Now, in the coming months, I'm going to be sharing more about this topic of big cycles of the ages and how they impact us and how things are changing and shifting as we return to the ancient wisdom and the ancient knowledge. So be sure, my friends, to tune in each week and don't miss a single bit of the important wisdom that I'm going to have coming your way through interviews and through my own analysis here on the Guiding Star Astrology YouTube channel. And that said, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to go into the monthly draw to win a solar return report. Now, of course, I offer a solar return report as a prize each month for anyone who's new and has liked and shared or subscribed. Or if you're a previous subscriber, simply let me know in the comments that you have been a subscriber and that you've shared the video in some way. Then you go into the draw to win a solar return report for yourself. And of course, if you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, hitting the bell notification, then you're going to get the information you need to know I've released a video, particularly about this ancient wisdom and knowledge that I'm going to be sharing in future episodes. So the winner, I need to announce the winner for July 2023 of the Solar Return Report, and it's Barbara Gale _drum_song_dance. So Barbara Gale, if you are watching this, do contact me through the message section of my Guiding Star Astrology website, and let's get you set up to get an astrology report for your year ahead. Very, very exciting. Thank you for all being part of this movement and this momentum here, astrologically wise, in the on the earth right now, but also here on the Guiding Star Astrology channel. So let's begin this week's energy focus for the week. And of course, this is just a little review that I start with, and then I break things down into all signs. And this little review is simply a snippet of the energies playing out this week. If you want to follow my Instagram or my Facebook page to get daily updates on all the energies that are unfolding, then you can do so through the link in the description box below. But first off, we've got a very special energy, and I can't wait to talk about this one for all signs very soon. We have the conjunction of Venus, who is retrograde. Let's put the R up here so we know. Venus retrograde conjunct with the Sun. This is what is known as cazimi, not when Venus is direct in conjunction with the Sun. That is not cazimi, okay? And I've explained this in many videos before. And I've also talked about this extensively in my recent video, Venus retrograde. If you haven't seen that video, just go back through my astro weather reports. It's only a couple of videos back, and it will explain to you the difference between Venus cazimi and Venus combust, and how they have very opposite effects and different effects upon us. This is the special one. This is the one we all love. This is Venus's transition from evening to morning star. And I love the morning star energy. Again, I talk a lot about the difference between evening and morning star when in that video that I've just referred to. So this is happening at 20 degrees. Let's put a 20 degree there. 20 degrees of the sign of Leo, powerful kingly Leo. Now all things Venusian can shine now, because the Venus comes before the king of the solar system, who's very powerful and strong in his own sign right now. So all things Venusian can shine, because when Venus comes before the Sun, it's about presenting our requests to the gods for anything to do with beauty, love, pleasure, and prosperity in our lives. This is a one-day only event, and it can often be a happy day for young women who use this energy to let their light glow and let their light shine, because Venus rules young women. Or if you're an older woman like myself, you can tap into that young, youthful female energy. And if you're a man watching this, then tap into your feminine side and enjoy all things Venusian. But it's really about sharing our joy, sharing the beauty in the world. In my garden, for example, at the moment, I have a bunch of jonquils coming out, and every time I walk past it, the scent just fills me with so much happiness. That's Venusian. Venusian things are the beautiful, the sensual, the pretty, the delightful, the pleasurable, all those things. Our sensory loving side gets amplified under this energy on the 13th of August when Venus conjuncts the Sun. Now that can look like suddenly we feel more in alignment with nature, or we notice those sensory things more than we usually do. We feel more loving. We feel more joy. Life feels more pleasurable, even if we're doing the same old routine. So it can be quite a beautiful day. The 13th of August this year is when this is occurring. And of course, this only happens roughly every 18 months because of the cycle of Venus with the Sun. So it's very special. It doesn't happen annually. It happens every 18 months, where we tap in greater power and greater amplification to our Venusian side. But as I've just mentioned, this is also the moment where we have a complete shift of energetic cycles to do with Venus. It's the end of an 18-month period and the beginning of a new 18-month period in your life. So where were you 18 months ago? What was happening in your life 18 months ago, a year and a half ago, roughly? What was happening in your life that now is coming to a conclusion? Maybe it was a phase of a romance or a phase of a love, Venus's love. Maybe it's been an 18-month period where there's been a financial influence of some description, for better or worse, happening in your life, and that's now coming to a close. Maybe it's been a friendship, 18 months of a certain type of friendship dynamic with young women. Maybe it's been 18 months of experiencing a certain type of beauty, or maybe there was a lack of beauty in your life, and now that's coming to an end. Think about the things Venus rules. And we're going to be exploring this for all signs shortly. Whatever Venus has been influencing in your life for the last 18 months is now in some way concluding as we draw to the end of this 18-month cycle, and we start a brand new 18-month cycle with Venus. And of course, Venus's last retrograde motion was not in the sign of Leo. So this is actually Venus's cazimi with the Sun in Leo. The last time this happened was 8 years ago. So you can look back 18 months ago, okay, what's the end of this 18-month cycle? But you can also look back 8 years ago, and there's a conclusion of an 8-year cycle now occurring as well. What has been phased out of your life now that was in your life prominently 18 years ago? What is starting afresh now that has been part of this 8-year cycle? It behoves us to keep an astrological journal or an astrological diary and I do sell them online if you're interested. It behoves us to keep records, because then we can look back at these cycles and how they were last affecting us and what we were last experiencing, and learn from that and apply it now going forward. So look back 18 months ago and look back 8 years ago when Venus was last in a cusp stage with the Sun in the sign of Leo. So this is a time, my friends, where we can ask ourselves, what do we desire to happen in the next 18-month cycle of Venus before she has another cusp event? It won't be in Leo next time, it'll be in a different sign. So what do you wish to happen in the next 18 months? This is our opportunity to present our requests to the universe, to Apollo, the sun, the god. It's Venus coming before Apollo. That is what's going on now. And so think of what you would request of the king if you were to come before the king and ask for his favor. That's what's going on. And I'm talking about the requests pertaining to Venus, your requests regarding finances and financial prosperity, your requests regarding love, your requests regarding luxury and pleasure and your ability to enjoy those things here on the planet. Venusian things, present your requests to the universe now as Venus comes before the king of the solar system on the 13th of August, and get ready to enjoy some Venus morning star momentum in the coming months, as Venus is currently invisible, but she's still by degree a morning star now, rising before the sun. And then she will become visible in the coming days and weeks, and then we will see her as the morning star, but she's invisible as the morning star from this point onwards, 13th of August, my friends. So exciting. I love talking about the cycle of Venus. It is exquisite. The pentagram that she forms and how that pentagram and all its mathematical calculations plays out in the world, in nature, in beauty, in cycles. She is such a powerful, pivotal force of nature and of the divine upon us here on earth. And a lot of the time it's hidden and we don't recognize it or see it, this beautiful cyclical pattern of Venus and her influence and mathematical influence upon us. And there's no wonder. I was watching a video the other day of the mathematical perfection of the pentagram, which is what she forms through her motions throughout an 8-year cycle. And I was looking at the mathematical beauty and perfection of her cycle and thinking, we don't even consciously recognize this unless we're into mathematics or we've been taught it very stringently in school. We often don't recognize how beautiful these patterns are and the dynamic of the mathematics behind Venus and her motion and how it affects us. Anyhow, enough rambling on my behalf. Let's look at what else is happening in the sky this week. On the 16th of August, we're going to have quite a big day. We're going to have the Sun making a square to Uranus. So that's down here. Uranus is in Taurus and the Sun up here. Whoops, my pen's running out. Down here in Sun in Leo. So usually with the square between the Sun and Uranus, it's time for marching to the beat of our own drum, people. It's an energy that says, I don't want to let anybody tell me what to do, what to think, how to behave, or most of all, how to express myself. I am unique and I'm going to show it, is the energy of this particular square. The trouble is, all this autonomy can rub people the wrong way if we're not acting with consciousness. So somehow life in the material realm under this influence can seem, well, it always requires a balance of belonging and individuality. We're part of the collective and we're also an individual. And this combination speaks to a very strong emphasis on autonomy and individuality. Don't forget that you're also part of the collective of humanity on the earth, my friends. Now, the Sun rules Leo and Uranus rules the opposite sign in modern astrology, Aquarius. So they're two planets that have they're on the seesaw together. They have a similar need for autonomy, individuality, and uniqueness, and yet they're also very much at odds in the astrological world because they're opposite, the polaric. So this polaric energy can express in the people that we encounter today. So we might find people triggering us, or we might be triggering other people. There can be sudden outbursts as a result of strong feelings of stagnation and wanting to break free, either in our lives or in the lives of the people we encounter. It is a hard aspect, don't forget that. but in a hard aspect, like a square like this square that's in this case tinged with a restless energy, an uncertain energy, it can only be mitigated and managed with a lot of self-awareness, a lot of non-judgment, and flexibility and flow, acceptance of the differing journeys of all humans. So when you encounter somebody and they see things completely different to you, this is on the 16th of August, remember, okay, I'm not going to judge. They are allowed to experience what they experience on their journey and see the world through their lens, just as you and I are allowed to see the world through the lens we have. And we can only, I guess, pray or offer our wisdom or our insights in a non-dogmatic way that allows people to think and equally absorb the perspectives of other people and consider that. So I guess the bottom line of what I'm trying to say here is be in self-awareness, be in non-judgment, and you'll cope so much better with the rather antagonistic energy that this day might bring because of this square. But also on this day, we're having the new moon in Leo. I talk about this in my Patreon family quite extensively. And so if you want to find out all about, well, actually there's 3 moon cycles of significance this August. This is the new moon in Leo. Prior to this, we had the full moon and the full moon in Aquarius. And after this, we will also have the full moon in Pisces. They're all being covered in the Patreon family by a specific forecast for each of those moon cycles this month in August. So if you join the Patreon family this August, you're going to get 3 forecasts regarding the full moons and the new moons. So we're at the middle stage here. I've already done a report on the full moon in Aquarius, and so my Patreon family are getting a new moon report on the new moon in Leo, and are also going to get one on the full moon in Pisces that's coming up. This one's happening at 23 degrees, and the moon, as we know, if we love astrology, it becomes dark for 3 days. And this is representative of a time for becoming introspective and weighing up our Leo influences in the world. This means assessing how we feel about being in the spotlight, about taking leadership roles, honoring our creative side, and it's a time with this new moon for asking ourselves, are we fulfilling our heart's desire regarding the opportunities we've been given in life? And if not, what can we do to resolve to change in order to bring the opportunities we crave into our life? So this is what this new moon is speaking to us about. Are we living our heart's desire, and what do we need to change in order to do that? So the new moon in Leo might be asking us also to take a bit of time out, to be a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more lazy. That's the energy of Leo as a sign. It is creative and there's a fire there, but there's also, just taking everything in its stride, and like the lion lazing in the savannah sun, and only, making effort when effort is required. It's about, the new moon in Leo is about finding space in our lives for good times, for affection, for warmth, for love to be given, and also for love and warmth and affection to be received as well. Integrity, justice, and solidifying your public image. These might be the themes that play out with this new moon. So we're looking for ways to bring more happiness and joy into our life experience now, and there might be some opportunities that land in your lap to allow you to do so. I talk more about this within the Patreon family, so do join me there if you would like to know more about this new moon and how it applies to your sign particularly. Also, if you have planets conjunct with 23 degrees of Leo, that's also something we explore. And finally, on the 16th of August, we have Mars in a trine to Uranus. So we've got a Sun square, and we've got then on the same day Mars in a trine. I'm sorry, my text is about dead. I do apologize. Hopefully you can all see that. So, Mars trine Uranus. Are you a risky kind of girl or guy? Are you going to feel right at home under this energy then? Because this is a risk-taking energy, but of the best kind. In fact, this energy can be very supportive for everyone who's wanting to step out of the usual routine and make the most of trotting the path less traveled. Again, this ties in with the sun, the need for individuality, the sun square. You might tread on some toes, but it can pay off for you. So the Sun square to Uranus can indicate, yeah, I want to be unique. I want my authenticity and my freedom. I might tread on some toes in going about it, Sun square to Uranus, but hey, it's going to turn out good for me, Mars trine to Uranus. So boring routines, suffocating circumstances, they get busted up under this energy of Mars trine to Uranus. So trust your gut, requiring what needs a shake-up and what needs changing. And this can mean everything from a relationship that's well past its use-by date, to a home you've outgrown, to a career that feels mind-numbingly tedious. Things can change significantly under this energy, quite often depending on what Mars rules in your personal chart. So the desire for freedom is going to bring more blessing than detriment in your personal life now. And in society, people are going to, like I said, you might rub some people the wrong way. There might be some treading on toes that occurs, but if you're acting in consciousness and allowing people the right to be themselves and honoring your own right to be yourself as well, if you can act in that conscious state, then there's the potential for blessing to come out of this particular day. Now, it's quite an exciting day because all these three energies, new moon, Mars trine Uranus, Sun trine Uranus, are all tying in with one another. As I said, I talk about this more in the Patreon family breakdown. But today we're looking at all signs that are experiencing and we are all experiencing Venus cazimi on the 13th of August. And if you're somebody who's fascinated by astrology, curious about how it works and want to know more, then you might like to join me at my Royal Stars Academy, where we do dive deeply into what Venus rules, her cycles, her signs, and we explore that in great depth. So take a deep dive into the beauty of astrology with me. Join me at the Royal Stars Academy for your own pleasure, or become a certified astrologer if you would like to. The link is in the description below. And now let's jump in and have a look at Venus cazimi for all signs. All right, so Leo, we're going to start with my Leo friends right now. Leo rising or Leo sun or moon, you can look at all three of your sun, moon and rising sign. We've got Venus in a cazimi position in your first house, okay? So we need to look in this case at what Venus is ruling. And in a Leo chart, Venus rules the 3rd house and the 10th house. So this is what we're going to be having a brand new beginning with. 3rd house things, maybe some of you might be starting in the next 18 months your own business, or starting a new craft project, or some new skill of the hands that you're going to put into action in the next 18 months. You might be finding that you're getting a whole new circle of friends in some way in the next 18 months. You might be joining some workshops or doing some sort of certificate study in the next 18 months. There might be a brand new neighbor who comes into your life in the next 18 months, or connecting more with your siblings or your neighborhood or your immediate environment. You might be feeling quite restless over the next 18 months. Maybe doing a few more little localized trips and that sort of thing, travel around. But also 10th house things are beginning afresh now too. Maybe you're getting a refreshing approach to your career. Maybe you're heading in a new direction. You're getting a project perhaps that might last you for the next 18 months. And you might be working on this particular project for the next 18 months. You might also find that your reputation is undergoing some sort of renewal or upgrading in the next 18 months, so that in 18 months' time, suddenly your reputation perhaps is at a higher standing or different in some way as a result of Venus ruling your 10th house in this manner. Now, Venus is also the ruler the ruler of the 3rd house in the 1st and the ruler of the 10th house in the 1st. Let's explore what that may mean. You might find that in the next 18 months, you're very strongly identified with your siblings or your neighbors in some way. You feel connected to them, aligned with them over some important issue or something that's happening in their lives. You feel drawn to connect with them in a stronger way. As an example, I've been feeling this lately myself with my younger sister, who's going through a very difficult time in her life, a lot of hardship and struggle, and I feel drawn to be there more for her during this time. 10th house can also exhibit this way as well, where we feel more identified with our career, or our reputation and our public image is very much connected with our career. Who we are as a person showing up in the world is somehow very strongly connected with our career, and we're probably going to be using our charisma, our personality, even our looks more prominently to grow our career and worldly reputation in some way. Back to the third house in the first, third house Lord in the first. There might be a message that you are required, Leo, to bring to the world. Maybe through some sort of social media, a personal message about your own journey and your own creative take on life and approach to life. And you might be doing this through YouTube or through blogging or through some social media app, or you might be doing it through sending out emails, or being some sort of a teacher, or maybe even in advertising or marketing. You might be sharing an important personal message. Personal is the house of you, first house, with other people through the mechanism of the third house. There's going to be a lot of emphasis on communicating, writing, talking, speaking in some way, and you'll put a lot of vitality into your communications over the next 18 months. Did I say 3 months earlier? I meant to say 18 months while Venus is in this, we're in this cycle of Venus, Cazimi rather. So it's a very prosperous combination, to be honest with you, Leo, because the third house, this is the 11th house from the third. So the first house is the 11th house from the third. It's a prosperous position to succeed financially in third house things over the next 18 months. So, artistic skills, Venus in skills of the hands, maybe, succeeding through great hairdressing talent or something like that, or through your own artistry or design or your advertising prowess and market and ability to market things well. You can really succeed and be prosperous. Also on the social media, you can succeed and be prosperous too. Success with education as well might also exhibit too. And the first house is the house of the body. So there might be a focus, like I said, on the use of your hands in some manner. Using your hands hands are part of the body, but the hands are seen by the third house. So there's a strong influence on the hands in some way. And now I want to talk a little bit about the 10th house Lord in the first. This is what's known as a Raj Yoga, a royal union. It's yoga means union. It's a combination of inspiration meets action. So it's likely that in this 18-month period, you're going to get some form of inspiration that you can take action over, and it's going to bless you and create for you the ability to generate a legacy in the world, or recognition out there in the world in some way. Career and worldly achievement are going to be so important for you in the next 18 months because of this Cazimi cycle that's beginning. So make sure, if you are not already aligned with a career or a goal or a mission or a purpose in the world, that you step into a position where you can be. So that might mean, okay, you're working daily down at the, local barista making coffees or something, but your career aspiration is to do a musical CD and sell a CD of your wonderful music. Well, get in alignment with that. Don't give up your day job as a barista, but get in alignment with your mission to do a CD. Start putting songs together. Start, seeing what studios are around that you can record at. See how much it's going to cost you, and start doing saving up to be able to record that. Get in alignment with your career now, my friends, because Venus is going to give you this, has the potential to give you this blessing if you will jump on board with it and get in tune with your mission, your purpose. So what else can I say about this position? It's connected to confidence. So be confident about who you are and what you want to achieve, and you will find that the universe will come in and support you in achieving those goals. You might even be given some strong leadership positions over the next little while, and they may be to do with third house things as well, sort of leadership positions, say in as a blogging leader or YouTube tutorials or that kind of thing. You might be considered to be the key person, the workshop leader, the wisdom giver in that regard. You can be the master third house things, because that's a 10th house, third house thing combining. So that's what I'm seeing for our beautiful Leos, and some of the things that might manifest for them over the next 18 months of this new Venus cycle that begins. Thank you, Leo. Okay, moving on to Virgo, Virgo rising, Virgo sun, Virgo moon. Well, the energy of the Kesenya new cycle beginning for you guys, for Virgo people, is happening in the 12th house, but we've got to look at what Venus rules. Venus rules your 2nd house, and it also rules your 9th house. And so it's 9th house and 2nd house themes that are going to be reworked, reborn, and given a whole new cyclical start for Virgo people. So that's obviously money, finances, how you value yourself and your contribution to the world, how self-sufficient you are. Virgo, that's getting a brand new beginning, and maybe there's something wrapping up and ending regarding financial situation or your ability to provide for your own needs and that sort of thing, as you establish a new pattern with this Venus Kesenya. And it's obviously time to present those financial requests, 2nd house, to the sun, as Venus comes before the sun, and make sure you take time on the 13th of August to present your requests financially, and also with all things Venus, as I said in the introduction. So that's 2nd house, but also the 9th house, it's it might be a new cycle of, connection with international affairs or other cultures in some way. Maybe a new cycle is beginning with your access to higher level knowledge, and that being the case, if you've been thinking about joining the Royal Stars Academy, my friends, which is considered a higher, astrology is a higher 9th house level form of knowledge, you might like to come and join the Royal Stars Academy now and begin an 18-month cycle of studying astrology at a higher level. 9th house is also our inspirations, our benefactors, and people who sort of give us a boost forward in life. And so with this energy, you might be getting a brand new start, or a new person of inspiration might come into your life at some point in the next 18 months, who changes your life and helps you forward and gives you more of a purpose and a mission and a meaning. So that can also unfold for you. But aside from that, Virgo, we also have to look at the fact that Venus is the 2nd house lord in the 12th, and it's also the 9th house lord in the 12th. So let's have a look at these influences. Venus as the 2nd house lord in the 12th says, be careful of your spending, okay, in the next 18 months. This is a cycle where you might find that perhaps you're spending a lot on 12th house things like spiritual retreats, day spas, maybe hospitals in some way, libraries, maybe spending a lot of money on your spirituality or some creative endeavor that you're undertaking. Some form of therapy might be what you're spending your money on quite a lot as well, or something from a foreign place, overseas ventures, offshore bank accounts. You can even make money by some sort of overseas investment or overseas opportunity, or some far away, sort of removed from the ordinary everyday kind of matter that you can earn money from. It can be, maybe you might earn money from something artistic, something musical. You might earn money from being involved in like a retreat center in some manner. So you can be spending money on those 12th house things for the next 18 months, or you might be gaining rewards or earning money through those 12th house things. It can go either way. This is I have to say, this is not the best combination for handling money. So make sure that if you need to insure any goods for the next 18 months, you do. Make sure that you maybe speak to a financial advisor about how to manage your money wisely. If you don't know, maybe put a rainy day bank account together that you can add to bit by bit over the next 18 months would be also a good idea. One energetic way you might be able to amp up the positive energy of this combination might be to practice charitable giving for the next 18 months. Find a way to contribute, even if it's just, baking scones for the local cake stall that's going to raise money for some charity, that kind of thing. If you can do some sort of charitable giving and contribution, that in Vedic astrology is considered to help this combination to bring more blessing into your life. So do look to be charitable in some way that you can. Also, you might be getting some sort of some dreams, some sort of psychic visions about finance and in financial investment, I would encourage you with this combination to pay attention to that. Double check it with somebody who's in the know about financial matters. But if you get some sort of vision or dream about investing your money in a certain way, pay attention to it, because that can be one of the higher manifestations of this combination over the next 18 months. Now, you also have the 9th house lord in the 12th. This is a very spiritual combination that might be playing out for you, Virgo. Mystical belief systems might sort of come into your awareness. Gnostic, sort of very deeply profound and even ancient belief systems come into your consciousness, and that can be an absolute blessing if you allow it to sort of inform your own morals, your own ethics, your own beliefs. Spiritual blessings might come your way in life. Now, spiritual blessings are different to material blessings. Sometimes, if you've been sort of subjected to the prosperity gospel idea, which was very prominent over, sort of the 80s and 90s, we sort of have the belief that unless we're being blessed materially, God isn't with us, and that's a load of BS, quite frankly. But really, spiritual blessings can come into your life under this influence, which feels like, just being close to the divine, connected to nature, direct experiences of God, mystical experiences of the divine, feeling like you understand, feeling at one with the intent of the universe. Many ways that spiritual blessings can manifest. Lots of aha moments and psychic insights, and feeling like there's a lot of spiritual growth taking place. So don't go looking for the material manifestation as evidence of the spiritual. In this case, you might be having a lot of spiritual growth that's more based on your internal consciousness instead. You might get an opportunity in the next 18 months to undertake a higher level spiritual studies. Maybe you might find yourself going to visit an ashram or a secluded place for the purposes of getting in touch with your higher self, understanding your heart. And that said, I am going to be talking in the next couple of weeks about a very fantastic retreat that David Warner Matheson and I are participating in, which will be a trip to Europe, to Egypt in 2024. So do stay tuned for that video where I'm going to talk more about that offering. This could be very much a part of this Venus, Lord of the 9th house in 12th house effect. Going to faraway places, going to places of escape for the purposes of spiritual up-leveling, spiritual understanding, a new wisdom, and new ancient insights into ancient beliefs. So quite powerful combination here that might manifest for you in the next 18 months. I can see that many of you might enjoy 12th house things in an overseas context, maybe some international photography exhibition or film exhibition, going to see the Russian ballet if you happen to reside in England or something. You can experience foreign culture. Might be a big part of the next 18 months at some stage in your life. So quite a powerful one. Also, there's likely to be powerful prayer, powerful direct communication with the divine. You have the ability in the next 18 months, Virgo friends, to pray and hear your prayers answered, to overcome obstacles through the power of spirit and spiritual alignment. So that's what I'm seeing for my beautiful Virgo friends. Libra rising sun or moon people. Well, the energy of Venus Cazimi, which only happens every 18 months, is occurring in your 11th house. And this is beginning a brand new 18-month cycle in your life. There'll be something winding up regarding old themes of Venus and a new theme of Venus emerging and being born in this cycle. So Venus rules you. You're being renewed right now, my beautiful Libran friends. Who you were 18 months ago is not going to be who you are in another 18 months' time. You're emerging and blossoming into somebody new. New aura, new energy, maybe even a whole new body, new diet, new health, new strength in the body, perhaps in the positive sense, new understanding of self, and new ability to initiate and begin new things. Maybe for many Libran people, You might be having a whole brand new start altogether in life, in every area. New home, new career, new relationships, new can blossom out of this particular energy, because Venus rules you and Venus is beginning a new cycle. So there can be a conclusion of all those themes too happening at this time, as well as Venus ends her old 18-month cycle. But Venus also rules the 8th house for a Libran person. And the 8th house has to do with big transformations, big changes. So you might have been living through a crisis, Libra, in some way in your life, or might have been a lot of stress and pressure going on in your life, and that might be concluding now as Venus begins her new 18-month cycle. So new starts, maybe regarding something that was pressurized or something that was crisis-like. You might have a big breakthrough in the next 18 months into, if you felt like life was restricting you and blocking you and holding you down, this is the house that has to do with breakthroughs. You can break out of some restrictions in the next 18 months in this new cycle of Venus that begins. As I said in the intro, do check out where you were at 8 years ago when we last had a conjunction, a conzemi of Venus and the Sun in Leo, and see what was happening there that might be repeating this time around. Now, Venus is the first house lord in the 11th and also the 8th house lord in the 11th. So let's have a look at what that might be manifesting for us. Let's start first with Venus as the first house lord in the 11th house. Well, you might have a brand new beginning. Well, this is actually a wealth yoga, so a brand new beginning of gainfulness, a brand new cycle of gainfulness that starts for you coming from some, maybe you put out some sort of new project into the world or new opportunity that you've jumped on board, and it's going to generate more wealth and more prosperity for you. But a brand new cycle might be beginning under this influence. Don't forget, Librans, to present your requests to the divine regarding these topics that I'm going to talk about on the 13th of August as well, when Venus comes before the Sun. But could be a time when you get new rewards or recognition or honors, including being more well known by large groups of people. So that, like, I'm a Libran moon, maybe, for example, it might work in that suddenly I have a great influx of YouTube subscribers, and my reach in that platform gets bigger or something. So it could look like that, or it could look like a million different ways. Maybe your email list gets bigger. Maybe you get honored for some project that you've done over the last 18 months, and you get some sort of reward or notoriety from that. Many ways that this can manifest, of course. But you might find that the next coming 18 months might be very fulfilling for you in terms of developing bigger networks. I can already see this unfolding in my life. It's happening already. And as I come to Venus Cazimi, I know that this is going to be birthed fully. So more opportunity to fulfill our mission, to create networks of people that are going to help us fulfill our mission, and to bring more happiness from doing so into our life. Really, for many Libran people, the focus of this Venus Cazimi cycle right now is to generate connections, partnerships, networks, and we know you're very good at that, my Libran friends. You might be dealing with a lot of systems, I think, in the next 18 months, looking at the economic system or the environmental system or social systems or something, or the computer systems. You might be very much involved with various systems, and distribution might become somehow very important for you over the next 18 months as well. Clubs, organizations, groups, they can prove to be very profitable and gainful for you in the next 18-month cycle of Venus. Not only that, but I would also say, if you're a bit like me and something of an activist, someone who not afraid to attend a protest where it's required, there might be opportunity to involve yourself in more humanitarian causes or activist opportunities that are close to your heart for change, for revolution, for things that bring about more liberation and authenticity for humanity on the planet. That might be on the cards for you as well, Libra. It is a combination for being quite goal oriented and even a bit opportunistic, but this is a house of rewards and gains, and I see this combination, first house lord in the 11th, as a blessing indeed. In the Vedic system, it's like I said, it's a wealth yoga. Now, you also have the 8th house lord in the 11th as well. Now, This is kind of like a different kind of energy because it can just check in on your friends, because this is the crisis energy in the house of friendship. There can be crises in your friendship circles, and so be there for your friends. Make sure you support them. Or your friends might be there for you if the rug gets pulled out from underneath you at any stage in the next 18 months. So don't forget to lean on your friends. They're there for you, and you can be there for them. It can also be a time when there might be some sort of secret information exposed by your friends, or you find out some sort of secret hidden information about your friends as well in the next 18 months. It's likely that your friendship circle and social circles might be a catalyst for a transformation in your life. And I mentioned before about having, this is a time of growing our networks. In doing so, and being very connected to the networks that you're establishing, that is going to be very transformational in your life. It's going to change your life. It's going to, and for the better as well. Don't just think that this 8th house is all negative. Often the 8th house brings about 180-degree turns around that really change our life for the better. So there can be some big changes as a result of the new connections you're making, and they're going to change your life forever. Hopefully for many of you in a positive way. You might change your friendship groups over the next 18 months in some way. You might be sort of getting in with a whole, like I said, expanding your networks, but you might sort of leave an old network behind to join a new network or a club or a group in some way. Big shifts, big 180-degree turns around with your sources of influence in that sense. This is the 8th house is a house of inheritances. So you might be inheriting something, and that could be something material, but also something of an emotional nature, inheriting some emotional situation or, skill set or connections, networks, an inheritance of something that's coming through other friends and other organizations. So you can inherit, skills of friendliness from people, or, connection of that, through a friend, you connect to their networks, and that increases your blessing as well. So an inheritance of friendship, an inheritance of friendliness, an inheritance of scientific knowledge and prowess or creative genius that you're getting through your connections as well. 8th house is inheritance combined with the 11th house. There's also a strong ability to influence powerfully large groups of people for you Librans. You can be an agent of change for large social transformation with this combination over the next 18 months. You might step into a role where not necessarily leadership, but your influence is transformational upon big groups of people and big followers and fans and that kind of thing. You probably will be able to tap into sort of a capacity within yourself, Libra, that of like a psychologist who knows how to influence public opinion. You automatically know how to do this. That might be the result of this particular energy. So crisis situations might happen for our Libran friends, but they're going to transform your life in a very beneficial way. Even if you find that some gains and income are destroyed, they're going to be built back better by the end of this 18-month period. So don't be afraid of what this 18-month cycle will bring you. It is ultimately going to be good because you've got this wealth yoga combination happening as well. Thumbs up, my friends. So even if things get tough and hard at some stages, know that by the end of this 18-month period, you're going to be gainful. You're going to be rewarded. You've got the wealth yoga happening in this particular astrology. Thank you very much, my lovely Librans. Okay, Scorpio rising, Scorpio sun, Scorpio moon people. The energy of Venus Cazimi only happens once every 18 months when you can come and present your request to the King of the Universe, is happening on the 13th of August. And so that's what's happening. We can present your Venusian request, as I said in the intro, and expanded on that before the King, the Sun, the center of the solar system. And of course, we need to look at what Venus is ruling to know where these themes might be happening. Venus rules your 12th house, and Venus also rules your 7th house. So you can present requests regarding relationship, partnership, collaboration, and the generation of more harmony and refinement and peace in your life. Present your requests to the divine about that, 7th house things, but also 12th house things, your spiritual journey. Present your requests for spiritual blessing, or for assistance with maybe financial losses, because loss is considered to be a 12th house thing. So if you've experienced financial loss, Scorpio, present your request to the divine now. He will listen and he can answer to resolve these issues and bring blessing to these houses. Financial loss, your spiritual journey, the ability to undo writer's block or creativity block and produce your best work, your highest, most inspired creative work. You can present the request along those lines to the King of the Universe now too. Also to unravel and unloop any karmic influences. Now it's time to pray and present that to the King of the Universe as well on the 13th of August. But what I really want to explore now, Scorpio, is the rulerships. So we've got the 12th house Lord in the 10th, and you've got the 7th house Lord in the 10th. What might that mean for you in the coming 18 months as this new cycle of Venus emerges? Well, let's start by looking at the 12th house Lord, Venus ruling Libra, in the 10th house. What does this mean? It means that it's in connecting with 12th house things that you can grow your career. That these 12th house things might be where you're getting leadership opportunities. Maybe you get the chance to lead a spiritual group or an overseas trip or something. You might get the chance to, develop your reputation in leading a situation, maybe in a prison or a hospital or the hotel industry, which are all 12th house things. You might be hosting some sort of a getaway. You might be developing your reputation or your career in getting involved in some sort of film production or photography or creative work in some way as well. And this can be very beneficial for you. Even if you don't ordinarily work in creative fields, incorporating like music, art, film, photography, all the creative things represented by the 12th house into your career can bring blessing. Sometimes this can be a combination. On occasion, not always, but on occasion, can be a combination for the dissolution of a career. But remember, there is purpose behind these things happening. Usually if that happens, it's because you're not in authenticity with your career. It's not giving you the heartfelt joy that your soul came in to experience. And often when this happens, it's a result of the 12th house entities, the angels or the ancestors, the divine, moving the puppet strings, so to speak, to put you in the right place for your purpose this lifetime. So if that happens, and it might happen to some of you, not all of you, some of you might be experiencing that, it's for the right cause, it's for the right purpose, for the growth of your soul and the unraveling of karma that's holding you back. So this is not a combination to lose a job, but rather it's a combination to dissolve what's not serving your highest good. And that may manifest at some stage in the next 18 months. And look, this is also the 11th house from the 12th. So it usually will manifest for the greatest good, the benefit, the gainfulness in the long run. So trust the divine in this case, if that's what you're going through. It is likely that your ancestors or your spirit guides will be leading you regarding career. And if, it doesn't mean a career is dissolved, it might mean that they lead you into a new opportunity, a new project, a new way to do career that you won't even probably know that it's they're pushing, they're leading, but it's going to help things get better career-wise for you. It's a sign of influence that the divine is leading you in career. Even because of this, if you can let go and let God and allow that flow to happen wherever they're leading you and just go with it, if you can do that, then, and it might be hard because Scorpio likes control and likes to have their fingers, on the pie or in the pie, so to speak. But if you can let go a little bit, Scorpio, then you can find that things can manifest miraculously beyond your wildest dreams. So I'd encourage you to practice letting go and letting God, as they say. You can achieve, some of you, I feel, will achieve the career of your dreams as a result of this manifestation. Now also, as I said, we've got the 7th house Lord being Venus as well, and the 7th house Lord in the 10th is like a double whammy career influence on us. So the 7th house is the 10th house from the 10th, so double power when it comes to career. And it's likely also that over the next 18 months, your partners and collaborations and partnerships are going to be the best thing for growing your career. They're going to, and not just marriage, but business partnerships, or getting a good accountant, or getting a good marketer or advertiser is going to be really helpful in helping your career to flourish and help you to achieve at a greater level. You might get greater visibility and greater renown through connections, through collaborations. And that can look like maybe you're practicing chiropractor and you hook up with a naturopath and you open your own clinic together, and boom, all of a sudden you've got more work than you can handle and you're the busiest place in town. That kind of thing, through collaborating and connecting. Partnerships are where it's at for business for you guys over the next 18 months for sure, because of this combination. You might find that you can have, you might even do well through real estate with this combination, or property development, or hospitality, because the Lord of the seventh house is 4 houses from its rulership. So there can be some blessing regarding property and property development, etc. You might be, because it's Venus that's involved here, you might be beautifying a property, and that can go very well for you and be very good for career and for business, to beautify a property. Could be a business property, could be a home, that kind of thing. You might get involved in property beautification and design as a career option, or a side gig or something like that. So I can see a lot of blessing coming career-wise for our lovely Scorpio friends because of this combination. Also, for those of you who are single, this is an opportunity in the next 18 months to maybe meet someone through your career. If you're in a marriage, it's likely that your partner will be flourishing career-wise, and they're going to have a lot of career success, Scorpio, as a result of this combination, because this is quite a blessed combination. And so it's likely that partners are going to do very well for themselves over the next 18 months in this new cycle of Venus. Thank you. Okay, so Sagittarius rising, Sagittarius sun, and Sagittarius moon. Well, the energy of Venus in a cazimi connection with the sun, which only occurs every 18 months. It's very rare in many ways, but it's powerful. It only happens on one day, the 13th of August this year. This is when we can present our Venusian request to God or to the King, as I mentioned in the introduction. But it's for you guys, for Sagittarius people, it has to do with your ability to achieve rewards and gains for the good effort and the good work you've put out there in the world. It's time to pray for, the rewards to come in, for the harvest to be gathered, basically, Sagittarius. And so put that request to the divine, and you might be starting a whole new cycle with friends, with connections, with networks, and with your ability to achieve rewards and gains too. You'll also be starting a whole new 18-month cycle with regard to 6th house things, the work that you do every day. How you generate an income that pays the bills and puts food in the cupboard or pantry, that sort of thing. A new cycle begins with health and well-being and bodily capacity as well. So many of you might be starting a new cycle of diet or exercise, or seeing a particular medical practitioner who's going to help you more. That might be happening for some as well. So let's have a look. That's the general theme of what's you can present to the divine, to talk about and ask for the blessing of, but also where we might be seeing a whole new start happen as something else in those areas wraps up. An old cycle wraps up and a new cycle begins. But let's now have a look at what it means to have the 11th house Lord, Venus, in the 9th house. Now, this is actually really lovely because in this case, the placement of Venus is 11 houses from its rulership, which brings blessing, which brings gain. And in this case, we've got the 11th house Lord in the 9th house. So it's gain and blessing that comes through foreign influences and overseas connections and overseas friends and people in other cultures that can bring gain. This is a wealth yoga. So you Sagittarius people, blessed over the next 18 months to have this new cycle beginning. It'll be 8 years before this cycle happens again once this one is over. So enjoy this, make the most of this. This is a wealth yoga, a combination for prosperity, because it's the 11th from the 11th, and it's the cream of the crop for wealth yogas. You can have other wealth yogas in the chart that can give you, above average prosperity in life, but this is the one everybody wants, okay? But this is what's happening by transit for you, Sagittarius. So you can benefit and gain through higher knowledge, teaching, sharing wisdom, through traveling, through being a guru to other people, through being somebody who shares their ideological belief systems or their higher knowledge with the masses. The next 18 months is likely to give you opportunities to pursue such things and see such things bless your life. This is a combination for good karma that can benefit the whole of humanity. So your charitable actions can actually make you quite gainful under this influence. And you can also be a combination for good generosity. And of course, as we give, so we receive. There's many references to that in ancient spiritual scriptures. So you can, by being generous with this placement, by being altruistic, you can become very profitable, you can become very gainful in response. The universe rewards you for your graciousness. This is a combination for success in universities or studying something at a high level, PhD or master's degree or something. It's a combination for becoming like a professor, if that's something you aspire to do, or some sort of high level teacher. It's a blessing for if you're involved in buying and selling internationally, or if you're somebody who travels the world, maybe for speaking engagements or connecting with large groups of people, traveling the world to speak to large groups of people. It's success. It's a combination for success in all these realms. And it's also speaking to a brand new cycle opening up for you guys on these themes. So I'm so excited for you Sagittarius, rising sun or moon people, because of this beautiful combination. It's a combination that can bring gainfulness through communities, networks, and the high-level connections that you have in the world. The people with influence and power who are helping you out and pulling the strings to sort of push you forward and lift you up. Yay! So lovely. Friends are going to feel over the next 18 months like real soulmates to you. Real, like the best buddies in the world. Bonding strongly with your friends is what unfolds here, and you can bond over belief systems or exploration of different cultures. There's good karma with friendships available to you, and new cycles of blessed friendships that are unfolding for you Sagittarian people. It's about attracting the right people at the right time who will bless your life. The perfect teachers arise at the right time, and indeed you might be the perfect teacher for many people in the coming 18 months as this new cycle unfolds. Wow. Lucky. It's a lucky combination. And it gives you the awareness also, I would just add, of social trends and higher wisdom that can combine to bring blessing into your life in this particular cycle. So very pleased to share that with you. But also, my Sagittarius friends, you've also got the 6th house lord in the 9th. Now, this one, for those who are familiar with astrology, you might be going, oh, hang on, this could totally mitigate or ruin this wonderful wealth yoga combination that we're speaking of. Well, I want to say, don't worry. Don't worry, because the 6th house lord in the 9th, it's actually an opportunity. It's an opportunity because you can burn your karma. This is the 6th house is the house of where we burn our karma by doing these wonderful blessed things. 6th house lord is how we burn our karma. So with this new cycle unfolding, this next 18 months is likely to see the ending of certain karmic loops, habits, behaviors that have been sabotaging you, that have been holding you back. I feel that it's through connection with other cultures, that it's through understanding new spiritual belief systems and exploring new ideologies and philosophies that you are going to be changed and blessed and remove that karma from your life. Be careful of your health though, I would say, especially when you're traveling or residing in another culture. Be careful of your diet. There might be some difficulties with sort of foreign palates over the next 18 months that might manifest. You might find that at times you are involved or immersed in cultures where there's a lower socioeconomic status, and you can, because of this beautiful wealth yoga combination, you can actually be a blessing to people in poorer economic situations, or more difficult educational backgrounds, or people who are struggling with their health and well-being. You know, through your knowledge, through your wisdom, through your insight, you can set people free in those circumstances. The ninth house is a house of understanding, wisdom, and belief, and it's your knowledge and wisdom and belief that can be an uplift and a blessing to people who are in positions of struggle, bringing understanding. Do be careful, because the sixth house also represents how we self-soothe. And so you want to just be careful of being too preachy, too dogmatic, or too identified with some kind of zealousness, like religious zealousness or something. You've got to... We have to be careful, all of us, of not overcoming our own spiritual blockages first before we try and impose things on other people. So, the old adage of, remove the log out of your own eye first before you go moving the speck out of your brother's eye. That saying sort of comes to bear here in the shadow energy of this combination. So there might be things like that unfolding over the next 18 months that you just want to be a bit conscious of and a bit aware of. I will also just conclude by saying, Sagittarius, for some of you, there might be some conflict, sixth house, over your belief systems. So some people might not like it. You might go head to head. Always take the higher road. Always take the graciousness and the non-judgmental path. Don't let these things eat at you. Let it be water off a duck's back. Don't be a victim of somebody else's aggression or different belief systems. Keep your energy vibrating at a high level. But all in all, Sagittarius, I feel that it's quite a powerful 18-month season that you are now embarking on. Okay, Capricorn rising, sun or moon people. Well, the energy of Venus Cazimi happening once every 18 months, but in this case it's the so you can look back 18 months ago and see what was happening and what's concluding now and what new cycle is beginning, but also 8 years ago as well, when Venus was last Cazimi in Leo. So what does this actually then represent? Well, Venus is the ruler of your 10th house and also of your 5th house. So for Capricorns, this is quite a blessed combination, but it's meeting up with the sun in the 8th house. We're going to explore those things in a second. But the themes you want to present before the god of the universe, the sun, in this case, Apollo, the themes are going to be that you're giving to the universe to consider the 10th house themes. How you're going with career, public reputation, worldly achievement, the legacy that you want to leave, the mastery you want to achieve. Present your requests regarding those themes to the divine on the 13th of August. Also, 5th house, luck, children, issues with lovers, and your ability to just have a peaceful, relaxed, joyful life of just taking delight in the world and enjoying your hobbies and your interests. Anything to do with those topics, you can also present to the divine on the 8th of August. But what we want, the 13th of August. But what we want to really look at is the rulerships. So the ruler, Venus rules the 10th house and it's in the 8th house. What does this mean might be unfolding over the next 18 months as a new cycle begins? 10th house Lord in the 8th. Well, expect big out of the blue changes, my Capricorn friends. Ups and downs in career. But I just want to add, when I say ups and downs, yes, you might go on the roller coaster, but the overall outcome is going to be good because Venus is not only the 10th house Lord, but the 5th. Boom. So even though there's going to be sort of new starts, some of you might begin new careers, some of you might change the course of your career in some manner. Even when things are destroyed, so to speak, you will reinvent yourself and recreate yourself, put yourself into a better position ultimately through whatever new unfolds in the next 18 months. This is a gainful combination because the 8th house is the 11th house from the 10th. So it's through your career that you can transform your life into something better and be more gainful and be more successful, Capricorn. You might even have you want to draw in 8th house things into your career. So consult an astrologer about your career, speak to a psychic about your career. You might be dealing in your career with mysteries and secrets, which are 8th house themes. There might be a crisis of leadership. Let's say you work for government and there's a crisis of leadership, and that propels you into a greater position. Crisis is an 8th house thing. Crisis, leadership, 10th house. Boom, that puts you into a more lucrative position. You might be working with hidden assets. You might be working with the stock market, managing other people's resources in some way over the next 18 months. You might be what's that word? I always forget it. The person who manages another person's will, power of attorney. And you might be given the opportunity to do that, or you might be in some sort of leadership position regarding the governance of other people's money in some manner. So very transformational regarding career and leadership roles. And I feel that the next 18 months is going to be very, very powerful for you in that regard. Now, we've also got the 5th house lord is Venus in the 8th house. And this is a very interesting combination because 5th house is romance. You might experience some sort of sudden crisis with romance in the next 18 months. But remember, it's going to turn out for the best because of this 11th house from the 10th, and also the 5th house is lucky. So even though a crisis happens, even though transformation with relationship or romance happens, it's going to bring benefit in the long run. There might be some power struggles that you have to go through with some lovers. There's also the chance that over the next 18 months you might be radically transformed in some way through a love relationship. It can indicate a hidden romantic relationship or a highly sexualized relationship. Even if you're already in a relationship, suddenly, because of this cycle of Venus that's now blossoming, you might find that you're more sexually attracted to your partner than you have been for ages. And it's all on for young and old for the next 18 months. So thumbs up, go for it, guys. The house of fortune is the 5th house, and it comes into the 8th house of inheritances. So that bodes well for receiving material support, money from other people, from inheritances, from stock markets, and even from taking a risk as well. So fortune with hidden money can also be a manifestation that somehow unfolds in the next 18 months as well. You probably will find that you enjoy taking a risk, even though Capricorn as a sign itself, which is you, doesn't really go for risk. It likes, the plodding, the safe and tried route to success. But under this energy, you might find that, something risky. You buy a ticket in the meat raffle at the local RSL club and boom, you win. You get lucky. So that kind of thing can happen. But also risky pleasures might look like, getting involved in astrology, researching astrology, getting to know astrology, mysticism, life after death experiences, having past life regressions. You might find that these things bring a lot of transformation and change your way that's ultimately a blessing. This is also a house of therapy, so you might be very creative and intelligent about how you go about therapeutic healing. You might like to look at doing some art therapy, music therapy, dance therapy. 5th house creativity in the house of therapy can be very beneficial for you in the next 18 months. Of course, this is also the house of children. So it's likely that your children will go through big transformations of some description in the next 18 months as well. Some of you might be having power struggles with children because of this combination in the next 18 months. Your children might be also keeping secrets from you. So heads up on that as well. You could also find one of the ways this might manifest is that your children might have a fascination with hidden things or criminology or psychology and be getting into sort of the more mysterious realms of life. So just watch, if you've got young children with this combination, do look out for your children. Do make sure that they're all okay and that they're not going through a crisis that they're not telling you about. Be there for them, loving, caring, supportive, as we all want to be to our children. Yes, they're the main themes that I'm seeing for my Capricorn friends. Aquarius rising, Aquarius sun or moon people, you can look at all three. all three signs pertaining to you. But we're looking in this case at Venus in a cazimi with the sun. This happens every 18 months. So you're ending an old 18-month cycle and beginning a brand new 18-month cycle. Very exciting times. And so this is on the 13th of August, we have the chance to present our requests to the divine. And in this case, Venus rules your fourth house. Requests regarding home, family, heritage, roots, lineage, and connection and belonging, emotional stability. You want to come to the universe and say, hey, this is my desires, my heart's longing regarding those fourth house things. The other thing that Venus rules is Libra, your ninth house. So that's anything to do with higher learning, higher knowledge, travel and other cultures, benefactors and people who inspire us and lift us up. Those things, particularly also finding our purpose and our meaning and our mission in life, is ninth house as well. So this is the time to present those requests to the divine for support and answers and guidance regarding those things too, 13th of August. But what I really want to discuss here is what might be unfolding for the next 18 months. And in that case, we want to have a look at the fourth house lord being in the 7th. So there's a big emphasis on partnership in the next 18 months for my Aquarius friends. So this fourth house lord is 4 houses from the fourth. So there's a strong emphasis on family and property, heritage, roots, motherhood or parenting in some way, domestic life. That's very strong for our Aquarian friends. It's also an indication that you will develop over the next 18 months a strong emotional foundation. Being able to settle your emotions over the next 18 months might come when you are in your home or connecting with your heritage or your roots, when you're practicing hospitality, when you're gardening, when you're growing something, when you're researching family history, or when you're having a swim in the ocean, redecorating, renovating. These things are going to sort of help you ground yourself for the next 18 months. So in the next 18-month cycle of Venus, if you're feeling out of whack and emotionally upset or tossed around on the waves, practice those things I've just mentioned, or bring those things I've just mentioned into your life. It will be like an antidote to feeling all out of sorts, okay? This is also a combination for really having good times and connecting well and establishing strong bonds with children or with your family in some way. You might even, in fact, I think I know somebody who lives between a couple of countries, and they're returning to their home country for the duration of this next 18-month cycle. So going back to our roots, going back to our heritage can be a big, big part of this new blossoming of Venus because of this rulership. There might be also a need for some psychic protection that unfolds as well. So make sure that you have emotional what am I trying to say here? Emotional strategies that you can refer to if you need to keep you well grounded, but also visualize that protective sphere of armor around you every day to help keep your vibration up and to keep the attacks at bay. I feel that you're going to really appreciate domestic environments that have a more homely, even a provincial feel to them, maybe having a nice garden at your home or a veggie patch. Or security and comfort are going to be very important in your home environment for the next 18 months because, of course, that's where you get your emotional stability over the next 18-month period. Now, also Venus is the ruler of Libra, your ninth house. So ninth house lord in the 7th means that you might be, if you're single, you might be encountering somebody from a faraway place or a different culture. So you could meet them in your home environment, yes, absolutely, but they're likely to be from a different cultural background to your own. 4th house meets 9th house in the house of relationship and partnership. I feel like you're really going to perhaps be traveling to other cultures or experiencing other cultures with a partner. That could be a business partner, or it could be a marriage partner as well. But there's an energy of peacemaking in the world that comes with this combination. So you might be really seeking peace, amongst cultures and working hard to that end, to try and bring harmony to cultural international relations in some way. Relationships with other countries is kind of very strongly in your awareness for the next 18 months of this cycle. I feel, though, that if you are a married person, you may be experiencing blessing and luck in your relationship. So the relationships that you're in can sort of amp up in the level of commitment and the level of joy and delight that are experienced between couples. So if you're married, that's a bonus. As I said, you may also be traveling with partners as well. Or if not traveling, you might find that you're really connecting with your partner over some sort of faith or belief or religion or something. Some philosophical idea bonds you deeper with your partner over the next 18 months and solidifies your relationship, makes it stronger so it's going to last longer. There's a high-mindedness that goes into relationships here with this combination that is brought about by this new cycle of Venus. And I do feel that your partner, 7th house is seen by the partner, your partner, if you have one, could be a business partner, could be a marriage partner, will be very either inspirational in your life, or you will be an inspiration to them. They might be writing a lot, communicating a lot, speaking a lot. They might be somebody who is, finds a guru that they can really attach to and follow, or work with or be inspired by. Equally, your partner might be becoming something of a guru to other people or an inspiration to other people in some way. So support them, love them, and lift them up in that, my beautiful Aquarian friends. Okay, Pisces. Pisces rising. Pardon me, Pisces sun, Pisces moon people. Well, Venus is not our most favorable planet for Pisces, particularly Pisces rising people, because Venus rules, Venus rules two rather difficult cadent houses, the 8th and the 3rd. But this energy of, and we've also got Venus Cazimi with the sun in the 6th house, which is a malefic house. So, deep sigh, Pisces. We might have some challenges in the next 18 months as this new cycle of Venus emerges and an old cycle of Venus shuts down and finishes. Now, Venus being the ruler of the 3rd and the 8th means that we can actually, on the 13th of August, present our requests to the divine, knowing that the divine will hear, support, and bless us. And our requests should pertain to the themes of the 3rd house and the 8th house. So 3rd house themes, asking the divine to support and bless our small businesses or our side ventures that generate money for us, our side hustles, blessing our ability to learn or gain a certificate in something. This is a certificate house. Blessing our ability to generate friendships and small groups that are there for us and that bless us. Asking the divine for blessing on our siblings. As I mentioned earlier when I was talking about Libra, my younger sister, is going through a very difficult time, and anyone who wants to offer a prayer, I appreciate. But she's going through a very difficult time that actually pertains to health and well-being in her family. So, no lies in astrology, never. Here is house of siblings, 1, 2, 3, 4 houses, family. So my sister's family member in the house of disease and well-being or lack of well-being. And in this case, some difficulty for my sister's family with health. It's quite concerning for all of us. So, that'll be what I'm presenting my request to the divine on the 13th of August when Venus is conjunct with the sun and Cazimi. So siblings, neighbors, relatives are what we're looking at there. Now, also for a Pisces chart, Venus rules the 8th house. This is transformations. I don't actually see the 8th house. In Vedic, it is considered a malefic house, but I see it as a house of transformation, but it's a money house, a financial house. It's a house of inheritance and support of other people in your life. The blessing that other people can materially be in your life is an 8th house theme. So, I'm less inclined to think of the 8th house as a malefic house compared to, say, the 6th house, which is a difficult house. So, the 8th house is the themes we need to be presenting to the divine of the 8th house is, support for transformation in our life, support in crisis circumstances, asking the divine for blessing and inheritance and financial gain from others. Also, maybe our sexual health and our sexual drive and well-being we might be talking to the divine about on the 13th of August as well. Also, if we're dealing with sort of hidden money or occult practices. I mean, I'm an astrologer, that's very 8th house. That's my daily practice. I'd be talking to the divine about my work as an astrologer on the 13th of August too, or a psychic or a psychologist, or if you're a medium or a regressionist, you could be speaking to the divine about those skills and talents as well. So that's what we're looking at generally, but now I want to look a bit further and a bit deeper. As Venus, as the ruler of the 3rd and the 8th, is conjunct in the 6th house. What does this actually mean? Well, the 3rd house ruler, when it is in the 6th house, pardon me, sorry, I've got a big frog in my throat. What it is saying is we're going to be thinking about, for the next 18 months of this cycle of Venus, we're going to be thinking a lot about 6th house things. Health, nutrition, well-being, thinking about problem solving, thinking about how to fix things and find solutions, not only in our personal life, but in the whole world, Pisces. We might be writing a lot about that. And I've already said in the beginning of this video, I'm going to be talking a lot about that in coming videos talking about the state of the world and the injustices of the world and the cycles that we're in and how we resolve these things. So, this is very much the nature of this combination. Your mental health, guard it, Pisces, for the next 18 months of this cycle of Venus, because 3rd house lord in the 6th can indicate some sort of mental agitation, stress, mental health issues. So have some strategies, practice your daily meditation. David and I have started doing a didgeridoo meditation just for 5 minutes every morning. And gosh, it's made a difference to our state of peace and calm and equilibrium. So have some strategies that work for you, whatever that might look like, to keep your mental balance over the next coming months. Mindfulness, meditation, breath work, all those sorts of things. You can attempt to provide problem solutions through writing and communication. So, maybe if you're dealing with a difficult circumstance, write an email or a letter to, let's say, the ombudsman or the Consumer Affairs Organization. Use your written prowess to solve and resolve problems at some stage over the next 18 months that might be on the cards. The 6th house is associated with lawyers. So there might be, your sibling might be dealing with lawyers at some stage in the next 18 months, or a neighbor might be having to deal with lawyers in the next 18 months. There might be some conflict situations that require a lawyer in the next 18 months that you might be dealing with. You might find that if you're employed in a 3rd house field, advertising, marketing, administration, small business, social media, network, group promotion, that kind of thing, that there's a chance for a new beginning in that realm. So if you're working in those fields, it could mean that a whole new cycle begins with that kind of work. Now, I'm a small business owner, so it's likely to indicate for me that a new way of working will emerge over the next 18 months for me. A new way of doing my small business might evolve for me over the next 18 months in some way with this new cycle of Venus. You can also use the skills of the 3rd house, buying and selling, in your everyday work in some way too. Now, the 8th house lord, which is Libra, in the 6th house is such an interesting combination, because whenever we have a malefic house, and remember I've told you that in the Vedic system, the 8th house is considered to be a malefic house, going into another malefic house, the 6th house, it kind of cancels the negative effects right out. So this is going to relieve some of the difficulties we might have otherwise felt. Yay, breathe easy, Pisces. So yeah, if you've been having problems with poverty or debt or health or something like that, over the next 18 months, because the 8th house lord is in the 6th for this Cazimi point cycle beginning, you might find that you dissolve or you smash, you break through a health issue, a financial issue, a lack of education issue, because that's what the 8th house does. It destroys and then helps us to build back in a transformed way. So handle your difficult situations with wisdom, because they could actually be opportunities for a new you to emerge out of the ashes, okay? To fix your problems, to find remedies, to find solutions that really change everything. And of course, the 6th house is the house of karma. And as you dissolve your karma and remove these problems from your life, the karmic loops and knots disintegrate, and you can actually be in a much better place. So this is actually, you wouldn't know it, but having the malefic house lord in a malefic house can actually be a blessing going forward. So this 18 months, even though there's a lot of difficulties with these placements and rulerships, can actually end up being for your greater good, Pisces, for your benefit. Be very conscious, Pisces, of getting stuck in victimization, victim mindset, or it's not fair and it's not equal, and getting in that victim mindset. I do feel that this combination can transform those situations for both yourself and for others. This is actually a combination for using the spiritual alternative power of the 8th house to overcome. Maybe you have a past life regression and it releases you from some karmic debt. Maybe you see an astrologer and you find a solution to a relationship problem, a relationship conflict. Maybe you have an energy healing session and it heals some physical ailment that you're suffering from. So that's what we're talking about. 8th house destroys and resolves and heals the 6th house problems and karmas. So I do feel that that there is benefit coming, but there's likely to be a bit of a roller coaster ride, as the 8th house always is, with dealing with things. Now finally, 6th house is a house of litigation, and the 8th house lord here destroys litigation, court cases and debts. So you might be able to get away with something. Let's hope it's nothing bad, but you might be able to end a divorce case that looked like it was all going to be horrific, and this next 18-month cycle of Venus could see that all just dissolves out of sight and your divorce ends up not being so horrible. So that could be big thumbs up if you're in a litigatory situation, Pisces. The 8th house is also surgeries, as I've said, divorces, bankruptcies, and if you happen to go through, it doesn't indicate that you're going to go through these things in the next 18 months, but if you happen to go through these things, know that because of this cycle of Venus, you will have a fast recovery from these traumatic life experiences. The 8th house is a quick energy, and 6th house can be traumatic life experiences. So these things can come, it's not going to stop them coming, but you have a tremendous power of resilience and regeneration out of these difficulties to be in a better position overall in the long term, Pisces. So thank you, Pisces. Deep breaths and have your strategies at hand, and you'll cope with this just fine and come out better off. Aries rising, Aries sun, Aries moon people. Well, the energy of Venus Cazimi, a once in 18-month cycle, is happening in the 5th house. Woof, nice house of blessing. Now, the last time Venus was Cazimi in Leo was 8 years ago, but the last time Venus was Cazimi at all was 18 months ago. So look back and see where were you at those times and what cycles are repeating. Also, there's a closing off energy that happens around the 13th of August as Venus leaves behind an old cycle and establishes and begins a new cycle with this. So we've got to look at what Venus is ruling, and Venus is coming before Apollo, the sun, to present her requests when she is cazimi. So Venus rules the second house. It could be a financial matter that you're presenting to the divine, Aries. It could be a self-worth issue, an ability to be self-sufficient issue that you are presenting your request to the divine about. Venus also rules the seventh house of partnership, so it could be a relational issue, an issue regarding harmony, regarding beautification, regarding refinement and culture that you want to give over to the divine and present your request to the king, so to speak, in those regards. But what I really want to explore, Aries, is actually what Venus rules, and in this case, ruler of the second house in the fifth. What does that actually pertain to? What does that mean might be happening for you in the next 18 months in this new cycle of Venus? Well, this is another wealth yoga, and it's bringing blessing materially as a result of the good deeds of past lifetimes. So Aries, money can be made through taking a risk. Money can be made through investing in fifth house things, children, their ideas, their dreams. They might feel like there's a lot of expenses with children over the next 18 months, but it's going to come back to bless you in the long term, so worth investing in. You can also capitalize on your hobbies over the next 18 months and turn your passions into your self-sufficiency, your ability to make money and survive in this world. It's a good idea to perhaps invest, second house, in entertainment, fifth house, theaters, bars, film industry, performers, singers, that kind of thing. Your creative imagination can be really enhanced by this combination. So, second house is food, fifth house is creativity. If you've always wanted to be a wedding cake designer or a wedding cake maker, boom, this energy might start that cycle in your life of bringing second house things, talents, your self-sufficiency, anything sensual that you're involved in, your use of your voice, use of your face, into some sort of creative genius that blesses your life. So wonderful cycle in that regard. Creating fun and festive events is also seen with this combination. So you might be somehow involved in a music festival, a winery festival, vintage festivals, Comic-Con, that kind of thing, that can prove very successful for you over the next 18 months. You could also make a great deal of money offering some sort of dating service or introductory style events. We used to have in Australia something called the B&S ball, Bachelors and Spinsters balls. They've really fallen from favour. We don't do them anymore, but they were a wonderful way in their day for allowing single people to meet one another in an actual event rather than swiping left and swiping right and all that crap. So you might get involved in reviving that kind of thing, and it could prove to be quite a blessing. Dating services could be a gift and a blessing, and indeed you might find you develop your own sense of self-worth and validation through involving yourself with these things over the next 18 months. If there is a Bachelors and Spinsters ball somewhere that you can attend, well, go, because you're likely to feel really good about it, and you might even have some romance that happens as a result of it. A boost to your self-esteem is likely to be possible through involving yourself in romance and dating and all those things associated with that. Children are seen here, and I do feel particularly the firstborn child might gain sort of a position of notoriety or wealth or some sort of financial success in some way. It could look like your firstborn child getting their first job or something like that, but definitely some blessing available for one of your children, particularly the firstborn. Now, Venus also happens to rule, as I've said, the seventh house. So the seventh house lord, in the fifth house. This is quite an interesting combination to have the seventh house lord in the fifth house. It is the 11th house from the seventh house, so it indicates that rewards and gains can be achieved by unions, marriages, partnerships. You can do very well in your marriage over the next 18 months because of this Venus cycle. You can also do very well from business partnerships as well. So bringing prosperity, bringing notoriety and greater networks into your life. You might find that your relationship if you're in a committed partnership, you might find that it feels more loving, more affectionate, more warm over the next 18 months, and you kind of blossom into the next level of your relationship because of this combination. Your marriage can feel more fun, and connection with your children in a marriage might feel more delightful and more joyful, more rewarding for you as well. If your partner's involved in anything creative, Aries, if they're involved in politics or performing, then it's going to be a blessed time for your partner. They're going to flourish under this energy too. This is a very independent combination, so it could look like your partner developing more independence in some way, or becoming more popular, or standing out, becoming a celebrity of sorts. That's not you. This is your partner. That could be this could be happening too. It's also likely that your partner might suddenly, over the next 18 months, become more goal driven and be more in line for some rewards or accolades in some way. They might find that there's work opportunities for them in fifth house industries, the performance, politics, drama, anything creative, anything to do with children, or the dating industry. But more than anything, this is a combination for fun and joy and love and romance in partnership and connection as a result of this newly born Venusian cycle. So very happy to share that with you, my Aries friends. Okay, Taurus rising, Taurus sun, Taurus moon people. Well, the energy of, let me get this right, the energy of Venus cazimi with the sun is happening down here in your fourth house. So when Venus is cazimi, it only happens once every 18 months, but it only happens in Leo, in this case, once every 8 years. So you can look back psychically and see what was happening at that time 8 years ago or 18 months ago. And one thing we know is that when this occurs, we're starting a whole new cycle of Venus. An 18-month cycle. So there's a closing down of the old 18-month cycle that's coming to an end, and we're establishing something new, a new cycle of Venus. So we look at what Venus rules, and it rules you, the first house. And on the 13th of August is when we present our request pertaining to what Venus rules to Apollo, or the divine, or the universe, or God, as we call it. So you might be presenting a request regarding, your journey of life, your energy, your vitality, your physical health, the way you look, your charisma. You might be presenting a request regarding how independent and assertive you're able to be, your ability to start something new and establish something new, your ability to turn over a new leaf and really have a refreshed approach to life. You might want to present your requests of that nature to the divine. Also, in a Taurus rising chart, Venus rules the sixth house. Present requests to the divine regarding your physical health and well-being again, but also any problems. Speak to the divine about your any debts that you've got, any issues with poverty or lack, any issues with a lack of education, any issues with physical health and well-being, or issues with enemies or people who are making your life hard and difficult. Present those to the divine will hear, the divine will answer. Thumbs up. But what I really want to explore here, Taurus, is the rulership. First house lord, in this case, being in the fourth. What does this mean might be unfolding for you in the next 18 months of this cycle of Venus? Well, your mission in life is to really support and connect and bond with family. You might be more involved in raising a family over the next 18 months, or taking care of your family, or exploring your family lineage in some way. There might be a very strong connection with land and property. So you might be dealing with real estate agents in some manner in the next 18 months, or renting out a room, or developing a garden that you want to be self-sufficient with, or something like that. Property, family, your heritage, your roots, your lineage, a part of your life mission for the next 18 months, a very prominent part. Children or family in terms of parenting might be a big part of your mission in the next 18 months, or taking care of your own parents might prove to be a big focal point in this next cycle of Venus for you. Love for country, being patriotic, standing up for your country, your culture, your community, and defending it might also come into play at some point in the next 18 months. And we're seeing that happen all over the planet at the moment, where it seems like they're trying to destroy the cultural fabric, particularly in the West. And I would say it's up to you Taurus people to dig in your heels and really honor and uphold and uplift the community fabric and the cultural fabric of what you are identified with, particularly if you live in the West, I feel. Your roots, your heritage, your lineage. We need you now, Taurus, more than ever, to act on behalf of everybody as we're seeing our cultural identity start to disintegrate left, right, and center. So physical home is going to be very important. Your ability to feel safe and secure in the world is a big focal point for the next 18 months of this cycle of Venus. Venus might even bring more beauty into your home. You might be renovating or changing the decor in your home in some way, or just looking for a whole new home that is more beautiful in some manner. Venus also, as we know, rules the 6th house in the 4th. So when we have the 6th house lord in the 4th, what might be unfolding over the next 18 months is that you want to just check in on your mother or your parents or a maternal figure in your life, because 6th house can be sort of unwell, being diseased, or having physical difficulty in the house of the family, the mother, the maternal line in some way. So there might be an out of balance situation with a family member, might be conflict with somebody in the maternal line that you're going to want to deal with. So forewarned, forearmed in that regard. And do make sure you, as I said, check in on your mother as often as you need to make sure she's doing okay, and not just physically but emotionally and at a stress level and all that kind of thing as well. Do take care of your parents. It's good karma to do so, and this combination means a new cycle of having to check in on that sort of thing. You might feel that there is an increasing amount of conflict in your homeland, because this is the patriotic placement, as we know, and the 6th house is conflict. Conflict in your homeland, conflict in the ancestral line. And again, I just reiterate, Taurus, that you are who we're looking to now to uphold our family dynamic, our cultural dynamic, our cultural fabric. And please lead the way is what I would say, because you have this blessing of Venus, this power of Venus to do so on behalf of all of humanity at this time. You might, some of you, not all of you, but some of you listening to this might have court cases with family or fights with family, just going head to head or not being in agreement with family members right now. If you're a parent, you might find that you're really required to teach your children cleanliness or discernment or the value of hard work in some way, lead by example in that regard. You might also find, the 6th house is debts with property, but I do feel that because of the 1st house lord and the 4th, that there's potential for gainfulness over time. Not only that, but the 11th house from the 6th is the 4th house. So that indicates gainfulness and prosperity that comes in time. So if you have to go in debt for a property, my Taurus friends, know that ultimately it's going to pay off. It's going to be a worthwhile debt to enter into in time. Perhaps at the end of this 18-month period, you'll look back and be glad that you chose to do what you did. The 6th house is burning our karma, and you can burn your karma by beautifying Venus a home space. Burn karma by, painting the walls or establishing a beautiful garden. So put some effort and hard work, 6th house, into beautifying your domestic life, your domestic experience, your home life, your family life. Work to resolve conflicts with family members. Work to protect and care for sick family members, and in doing so you're actually going to unravel those karmic loops that keep coming up and cropping up, and you can dissolve away karma, because 6th house is how we dissolve karma. So that's what I'm seeing for my beautiful Taurus friends and family, my astral family. Gemini rising, sun or moon people. Well, the energy of Venus cazimi in a conjunction with the sun, which only happens every 18 months, is occurring in the 3rd house. Now, on the 13th of August is the day we can present our Venusian requests to the divine will hear, and the divine will honor and answer. So we want to present our Venusian requests, which are 12th house oriented. Present requests regarding your spiritual life, perhaps the ending of some cycle in your life, because 12th house is to end things, past life issues, karmic issues. Present requests regarding deceased family members and maybe issues that are left behind for others to deal with. Present requests to the divine regarding your creativity. I think I already said your spiritual journey, potential for healing, and request for miracles. Present that to the divine. Venus is also the ruler of your 5th house, my beautiful Gemini friends. So presenting requests regarding children, regarding romance and love, regarding luck and the ability to experience luck. Present requests regarding your ability to know joy and experience affection and warmth in life. Present that to the divine will hear, the divine will answer. But what I really want to break down now is the rulership of Venus. Venus, as the ruler of the 12th house, sitting in this case, the 3rd house. What does that mean? Well, over the next 18 months, you might be able to really channel some creativity into the use of your hands. Maybe you decide to take up sculpture or writing or seamstress work or photography. Well, this is a blessing on you at this time to do so. So, explore those options of craftsmanship. You can be a writer, or you can get involved in writing rather over the next 18 months, who is channeling some kind of otherworldly knowledge. You might be writing, speaking, or communicating about some, far off other dimensional wisdom, and giving that and sharing that to the world. What an honor, what a blessing. You might be writing or speaking or communicating about international travel or international trade, foreign matters, art, music, film, poetry. You might be a messenger or an interpreter of dreams, my beautiful friends. You could also find that you might be sharing some visionary ideas or spiritual insights with people, and they are uplifted and they are inspired. So this can be very uplifting for others, but can be very draining for you. So, make sure that you're getting enough rest, you're getting enough sleep, take a break, escape, retreat. Especially you might need to focus on retreating from the mental chatter in the mind. So have some strategies like meditation or, just escaping with a good book or something like that to help soothe the monkey mind that might be activated somewhat during the next cycle of Venus for 18 months. Do take care of your mental health, because this is a combination for struggle with mental issues and mental exhaustion. So learn to switch off that monkey mind, as I said. You might feel like the divine or powers out of your control are interfering with your daily routine. So this can be very beneficial when magical things start happening in your day, but it's a bit frustrating when plans start to fall apart and something else eventuates instead. So I would encourage you to be, over the next 18 months, flexible and go with the flow. And we know you're a mutable sign, Gemini, so that's going to come easier for you than for some other signs. You're probably going to be find over the next 18 months of this cycle that, being busy, too much chit chat, lots of administration work just drains your vitality. And usually you're really into that sort of thing, Gemini. So don't be too concerned if you see that happening. It's an energetic thing and it will pass, obviously. But too much 3rd house influence can drain your vitality. My daughter has this in her natal chart, and she's someone who needs a lot of sleep. Even from the time she was very little, she would take herself off to bed before bedtime because she just knew she was tired and she needed lots more rest than the average. So make sure you get to bed early for the next 18 months. Incorporate that into your routine and your daily activity to get plenty of sleep, plenty of relaxation and rest. This is the house of siblings, as we know. So it could indicate that over the next 18 months, you may have a sibling who moves away or lives overseas or goes traveling overseas or takes time out from their ordinary routine or their work in some way. It can also indicate that your siblings get involved in some sort of spiritual activity or some sort of a creative work, or they might take up a job in a secluded place, like on a ship or in the travel industry or in a hospital or something like that. So siblings can be affected in that regard because of this. You can also experience a bit of psychic activity. You might have a message that's coming from the divine, as I've already said. You can also have a great ability to do fantastic impersonations of other people as well. It's like you're channeling the dialect or the language of, or the speaking tone and inflection of other people. Absent-mindedness is the final thing I want to mention with this. You know, you might be sort of a bit, you know, off with the fairies, and that's okay. It can benefit you in your creative work, but you might find that, you know, you miss a detail here or there with a contract or something of a more serious nature. So make sure you just, you know, get double check things, double check you know, any fine detailed contracts and stuff that you're going to sign over the next 18 months to make sure everything's above board and you haven't missed anything. And of course, the other thing that Venus rules for our Gemini friends is the fifth house. Sorry, I had to stop and think for a second there. The fifth house Lord in the third. It's a combination. Over the next 18 months, you might experience the opportunity to be an entertaining person who's teaching others, training others, you know, somebody who is providing entertainment with knowledge, with wisdom. It can also be a combination for fame through the media, through YouTube, through connection, through networking, and through small business, Gemini. So that sounds like fun if that's something you've been wanting. Networking might actually take on the form of a hobby for you with this combination. You might also find that you're spending a lot more time on social media in some way and learning a lot through social media too. Confidence can come through putting yourself out there in those mechanisms, and you might be very passionate about developing a Instagram page, or it's actually really great if you're in sort of journalistic type careers or blogging or something like that. This is a very empowering and blessed combination where you can be very gainful through those sorts of things, because this is the 11th house from the sign of Libra, the fifth house. So you know, you might get to a point where you get some sort of celebrity status from a journalistic article that you produce, that kind of thing. You can also be very creative and have an element of creative genius over the next 18 months with your hands. Divine creativity flows here, lots of capacity with painting and sewing and pottery and things that involve your hands in some way. Again, my daughter has this combination natally in her chart. She's not a Gemini, but natally, and she's very drawn to things like sewing. Naturally, she takes after her mum in that regard, but sewing and you know, design work and you know, artistry. So creativity with the hands. You'll probably find that what you enjoy in the next 18 months will be chatting with friends, exchanging information, but just be aware of this wearing out factor that we've also discussed already. So you'll enjoy catching up with people, you'll enjoy chatting, you always do, you Gemini people, but it can be very draining, as I said. You're probably going to get a lot of really wonderful genius ideas about business activities and business growth. So pay attention to that. The next 18 months can see a lot of benefit unfold for you in that regard. I also feel like you're going to develop stronger friendships with your children and connect to them more with communication, with words, with speaking, more so than sort of the, you know, quality time or hugging and that sort of stuff. Children are going to want to hear affirmations and receive words of uplift. So put little notes in their lunch boxes, and you know, maybe you know, write a little letter and stick it with their school uniform or something like that. So connecting verbally with children is very important over the next 18 months in some way, and will be a blessing to your children. All right. Thank you, Gemini. Now, Cancer, you have waited all this time, and we finally get to your placement Venus is Cazimi on the 13th of August in your second house. And this means that on the 13th of August, we can present Venusian requests to the divine. And what we're doing is looking at what Venus rules. You're going to be presenting requests that have to do with the third house because Venus rules Libra. The fourth house. Venus rules Libra, your fourth house. So in this instance, you'll be presenting requests to do with home, place of living, family, heritage, roots, lineage, the maternal line. You might be praying to Apollo or the universe or whatever you want to see the God, divine as. Present requests regarding those things and you will be heard and the divine will hear and answer. Not only that, but Venus in a Cancer chart rules the 11th house. It's also about presenting requests regarding rewards and gains and getting what you deserve for all the work you've done, all the energy you've put out there in the world with various projects and career activity. You want to see rewards for that. You want to see recognition. You want to see your dreams and goals manifest now. You want to see the ability to stand before large groups of people and be seen and be heard. Present that request to the divine on the 13th of August. And the divine will hear, the divine will answer, my beautiful Cancer friends. But what I really want to explore here is the rulerships. So we've got the fourth house lord sitting in the second house. And what this means might manifest in the next 18-month cycle of Venus that is blossoming right now, is you're going to get your security and sense of happiness through having financial stability. So this can happen, and this is again something to present a request to the divine about. I feel that for many of you Cancer people, you are going to establish a new cycle of financial security and financial stability that's going to make you feel solid in the world and secure in the world. It's also going to be very helpful for your sense of self-worth and self-value and self-confidence. This is also an indication that you might, over the next 18 months, be making money through property or property investments, but also vehicles as well might be a source of making money for you. The environment, nature might be a source of creating and generating revenue too. Security in life might come over the next 18 months through the development of assets or accumulation of something or collections of something that you might have. I want to encourage you, Cancer, just be careful of putting on weight over the next 18 months because sometimes fourth house security and stability comes through food with this combination. So it could be a time when you might put on a bit of weight. So be sure to eat foods rather that improve your emotional state, your moods. So eat healthy, eat clean foods. Foods that trigger the production of serotonin is what you really want to be looking for. You can be very gainful over the next 18 months through your family or through family properties or through your roots or your heritage, through your lineage or through your maternal line, particularly any of your mother's family can be a source of prosperity and financial growth for you in the next 18 months. But gains can also be made from fourth house things. So if you want to invest in minerals, rocks, marine environments, agriculture, land, real estate. You can be very clever at seeing the value in these things over the next 18 months, but do make sure you double check with perhaps a financial advisor or a financial astrologer to see that everything's lining up astrologically for your personal chart. Okay, don't just take this as word for it, but it might be worth pursuing and looking into it in a deeper level. The second house is our values. So you're going to have a strong sense over the next 18 months of the value of family, the value of home, the value of a safe and settled lifestyle rather than sort of being on the waves, being tossed about, so to speak. So even if you've been living a nomadic lifestyle or, being sort of a bit more free, this is a time, the next 18 months in this cycle of Venus, where you're going to want to sort of put down some roots and establish yourself more. You might find that if you've got property investments already or some sort of land investment or development going on, that it actually accumulates a great deal of financial reward for you over the next 18 months of this cycle. So you could find yourself in a beneficial position at the end of this 18-month period. Also, you might somehow have something to do with a family, like not a family home, a home that's more traditional, a home that's close to nature, or a home that has within it lots of representations of the natural wood, like natural world, lots of wood, lots of stone, maybe lots of plants inside, that kind of thing. So likely your domestic environment is going to look more like that, or take on those qualities in some way in the next 18 months. And finally, we have, for Cancer people, Venus also rules Taurus, the 11th house. And I love this combination. This is the 11th house lord in the second house is a wealth yoga. And we've talked a bit about some wealth yogas here. There's quite a few signs who are experiencing wealth yogas, which means this next 18-month cycle of Venus can see blessing financially arise for you, material blessing, because of the cycle that this is. Because this is the house of gains, 11th house with the house of money coming together. So, being that this is Venus, it's through Venusian things that you can be gainful. So, Venusian things can be luxuries, food, the voice. It can be through nature, the environment, through beauty, through young women, through romance industries and dating industries as well. Anything artistic and design oriented can be a source of profit, achievement and gain for our Cancer friends. You might be collecting things as well that bring success, storing things. You might be handling currencies or exchanging currencies or managing money, and that brings growth of gainfulness in your life, a wealth combination. Farming and agriculture also have a connection to the second house, as well as Venus being the lord of the fourth house, which also is farming and agriculture. So when we've got the lord of gainfulness having this strong connection to farming and agriculture, then food production and agricultural production, or even growth of farming of flowers and things like that with Venus, can be a source of blessing. With Venus, growing things that are sweet, like sugarcane or honeybees, having honeybees, or like I said, flowers are a great option. You might like to look at getting involved in those sorts of things over the next 18 months, Cancer. Have some honeybees in your backyard, or grow some flowers to sell at the local florist. Can be a very wonderful source of income for you, and a resource that you initiate yourself, because second house is our own money that we generate through our own activity. Profits can come from family too. This, in the Vedic system, the second house is considered to be handed down from family, what we inherit from family. And that can be anything, can be our attitudes, our behaviors, our skills, things that we receive from family. But in the case of the 11th house lord being in the second house, it's an indication that over the next 18 months there might be some sort of handed down gainfulness from family that you receive. So blessing from family sort of coming through twice with the fourth house and 11th house lord here in the second house for our beautiful Cancer friends. So it's going to be very interesting to see what unfolds over the next 18 months because of this combination. So thank you one and all for joining me for this sojourn around the horoscope. I hope this reading is a blessing to you, and I will join you next week with another Astro Weather Report. I'll catch you then.